Hey, what is up, everybody? I have a awesome brew today. Yesterday, I was doing my walking at the gym, and I thought I've been wanting to put Tablet of Discovery in our mono red scred list from before, but I wasn't quite sure how to get it to work. Tablet of Discovery works really well with Cleansing Wildfire and Price of Freedom, but then I didn't know what other instants and sorceries that I wanted to have in the deck for the Tablet of Discoveries. And then it hit me. Wish. This solves a lot of the issues that we had with the deck. So if you remember, the deck felt really good against decks that we could easily get them out of basics with our demolition fields, our field of ruins, and our cleansing wildfire effects. But then if we were against any decks that didn't care about that, it could be a little bit tough. This solves a lot of those issues. This gives us access to a lot of great sideboard cards, and we moved some Screaming Nemesises into the main deck to give us a combo kill with Star of Extinction. Theoretically, we can do this as early as turn 5, I believe. Turn 4 tablet, or sorry, turn 3 tablet, turn 4 tablet, and then turn 5 we can wish for Star of Extinction. I don't see that coming up super often, but it is nice that if we are in a uninteractive matchup, we can just play Screaming Nemesis and then we can just draw into Wish into Star of Extinction to win the game on the spot. One other thing, Screaming Nemesis also plays kind of well with Avengers Disassembled, where we can just play this Avengers Disassembled with a Screaming Nemesis on the battlefield, and all of our Screaming Nemesises just turn into lightning bolts that stop our opponent from gaining life. So that can come up. I also just like that this gives us a lot of main deck sideboard hate cards that are really good. Having main deck access to cards like Grafdigger's Cage, Soul Guide Lantern, Anger of the Gods. We've been seeing some more graveyard decks lately, so having access to this is also good. Against control, we do have access to Chandra Awakened Inferno, although keep in mind that most of the time they will just counter the Wish. So the can't be countered part of this maybe not as relevant as it might seem. We have a Cascading Cataracts. This is if we're against mono green or mono black, any deck that's running a lot of basics. We can fetch for this and then target this with our Cleansing Wildfire. Yeah, what's up, Badfish? I was trying to think of how we can make Scred a little bit better, and I played a little bit with this yesterday, this Tablet of Discovery Wish package. It's felt really good so far. I'm super excited for the list today. I think that's everything. A lot of the stuff is the same. Still on these Scorching Shots. Yeah, Damping Sphere. All of our artifact cards are... It's just nice to have access to these sideboard cards in the main deck. Scorching Shot's still here. Shieldred's still annoying, so I do like having access to a 5 damage burn spell. Keeping the Frostbites in instead of the other red removal. I like that this hits Planeswalkers. We saw that the last time we played this deck, the hitting Planeswalkers came up a lot. I think 2 is even worth it. I love the board setup. Yeah, the board's a little bit... It's in testing right now. We'll see what cards we get a lot of. We'll see which ones we don't get very often. Excited to see how the Wish board plays in Pioneer. One thing that I did want to note while we're in the deck tech, we did cut the Magmatic Hellkites for the Screaming Nemesises. That's how we did find space for it. I like that it lowers the curve a little bit. It is a little bit less land destruction, but I like that this gives us access to the Screaming Nemesis Star of Extinction combo. I think that's enough yapping about the cards. It's pretty similar to what we were running before, just with this Wish package instead of some of the other 4-drops. So let's go ahead and get into some games. I played this deck a little bit yesterday. Like I said, I came up with the idea while I was at the gym yesterday. So I've played a little bit, but I would want to get some more games into it. People have scooped to me dropping 3 back-to-back Nemesis. Yeah, when I was playing yesterday, I had 2 matches where it didn't even take 3. It was just turn 3 Nemesis, turn 4 Nemesis, opponent concedes. Card's really strong. I like that it's a good blocker too. All right. No companion from our opponent, but we're going to keep this. On the draw against an unknown opponent. Hoping to see a non-basic land here. I also... Avengers Disassembled is such a crazy card. Oh, all right. We're against control. First thing today. These Frostbites, not as good against control. All right, we just draw a basic. Let's just go Field of Ruin, pass. Looking to dodge. All right, opponent just passes. Start to go after their lands here. Depending on the build, they're usually on either a 3-3 split or a 2-2 split of basics. I think before, these blue-white control players were on a 2-2 split of plains and islands. So let's start with that assumption, and then we can adjust if needed. Let's just play another Field of Ruin. We don't want to let them use their mana. Friend got the land base for his blue-black control. Excited to play against it later. That's sweet. That's always the toughest part about Pioneer on Arena, is getting the mana bases together. So good to hear that he's got the blue-black mana base together, so that should unlock a lot of blue-black decks. There's quite a few blue-black options in Pioneer, so that'll be good for him to be able to explore a little bit. All right, opponent just plays a Beza to draw a card. They don't make a fish. They don't make a treasure. I've also kind of liked Frostbite against walkers in my spread list, but mine is about non-combat damage. Yeah, Frostbite hitting planeswalkers. The last time we played this deck came up and was important, so we'll keep an eye out for that to see if it's important again. All right, let's just go Avengers Disassembled on Island. And we'll go ahead and use a Frostbite on this Beza. All right, let's see if our opponent is on the 2-2 split like blue-white usually is. Okay, so it looks like they have at least a third island. So potentially the 3-3 version. People have started to run more basics now that these land destruction decks are on the upswing. Opponent has a Meticulous Archive, especially because the Beza can shut off the life gain. Yeah, being able to just Frostbite a Screaming Nemesis is really nice. All right, let's just cast another Avengers Disassembled this turn. We can't play around No More Lies this turn. If this resolves, that'd be kind of crazy. Oh, just a hard cast Wandering Emperor. So Frostbite. Again, coming in super clutch, being able to hit planeswalkers. An opponent minuses the Wandering Emperor before the Avengers Disassembled resolves. Kills their Samurai. All right, we'll take it. Use a Frostbite on the Wandering Emperor. Play a Sunken Citadel tapped. Pass the turn. Yep. Opponent probably just got excited to activate their Wandering Emperor. Opponent goes with an untapped land and then an Emeritus of Ideation. Cast Ancestral Recall. That is That is good. We need to... How many cards are in their graveyard? 7. Well, notably, we cannot Avengers Disassembled plus Frostbite. We need one more land for that. So we're just going to go with double land destruction this turn. Let's go after Basic Island. This should be their last basic. Wow. Opponent is on 7 basics. So they're just trying to beat decks like ours. Let's get this Tablet of Discovery down. We hit a Wish. That is a little bit brutal. Pass the turn. Now, notably, Tablet of Discovery does mill the card that we play. Or it does, sorry, it mills the card. So even though we didn't get to cast this Wish, we can flash it back. Now, opponent does get to get another Ancestral Recall. Yeah, it would be our luck to fire up another match of mono red and we're just immediately against the blue-white player that has, you know, 7 basics when usually these players are on 4, but it is what it is. Okay, so opponent untaps 2. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, so we don't have enough to wish for Chandra this turn. Oh, I meant for the... Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I wonder if they have 4th island. Going 3 planes, 3 islands, or 3 planes, 4 islands is really weird. This is a 5/5. So this turn we can Avengers Disassembled and then flashback Avengers Disassembled to kill the Emeritus. See if this first one resolves. Let's go after Hollowed Fountain. Looks like opponent has a counterspell. Opponent is thinking. Opponent has a Dovin's Veto. Okay. So with the Dovin's Veto played, let's just flashback on Frostbite and get the Teferi off the battlefield. Flashback onto Frostbite. And Frostbite Teferi. All right. Teferi number 1 is down. Pass the turn. Notably, we are not safe against this Emeritus. Like, it will kill us. Opponent has drawn 6 off this. Maybe they're valuing untapped Ardenvale. Potentially. I haven't seen a whole lot of Castle Ardenvales out of these blue-white players lately. Usually they're on the Azorius creature land to win the game with, but yeah, this many planes is definitely interesting from them. Hard to imagine that this flashback is resolving here. I think we're going to scoop it up to 1 more counterspell. Opponent is discarding 2 cards to hand size. They pitch a... probably just 2 removal spells. A Supreme Verdict. Alright, we draw Field of Ruin. Let's just start checking for basic lands. Kill the Restless Anchorage. All right, so they are out of basics, but I think it might be too late for us. Let's go flashback on another on Price of Freedom. But yeah, none of this is resolving. If this gets countered, we'll. Oh. This does not get countered. All right, go after a plains. Emeritus of Ideation looking very good for our opponent here. And opponent consults the star charts. All right, potentially could have played this turn differently if opponent just doesn't have a counter spell. Notably, it could be No More Lies. And so going for the Wish, we wouldn't have had the mana to pay. Wow. Price of Freedom resolves. We draw a Scorching Shot, which we can pay for Ward 2. See if they have the No More Lies. All right, so opponent did have the No More Lies. We're going to go ahead and scoop it up and go to game number 2. We had kind of a clunky draw there with all of our creature removal and not very much card draw. We had, 3 Avengers disassembled that game. So notably with this deck, all of our sideboard cards are one-ofs. So we don't really ever have to sideboard with this deck. We just go to game 2, click submit, and continue on. That's one thing that I like about the Frost Bites being able to hit Planeswalkers is they're not just dead in matchups like this, so we can feel better about running a bunch of just silver bullets in the sideboard. Are there any matchups that Frostbite just doesn't do anything in? Against Lotus Field, Wandering Minstrel is 3 toughness, so it does kill that. Oh, went up to 2 Anchorage a day or two ago. Just finding you don't like Anchorage, I think a lot of blue-white control players are on 4 Anchorage, at least 3. I always see so many of them out of my blue-white opponents. Opponent plays a Hollowed Fountain. We will start the blowing up of lands. Our hand's a lot better this time because we have land destruction spells that draw us cards. And being able to keep the cards flowing, we don't find a land. Does our opponent have a Consult the Star Charts here? Or not Consult the Star Charts. No More Lies. They have a Change the Equation, and we are missing land drops. I like it, but I don't care for so many guaranteed tap lands after turn 2 and 3. Yeah, that's fair. And with the Archives being tap lands too is brutal. So opponent just did not have a counter spell there. Because this Price of Freedom insta resolves. And this is 5 cards in a row with no third land. I would have kept this hand every time. A little bit of a bummer that we are just flooding out super hard here. Opponent casts a Stock Up and has a Petrified Hamlet. That is going to die. I think this turn they're tapped out of counter spells. We just need to get this Petrified Hamlet killed this turn. Unlock our Demolition Field. It would have been nice to get the tablet down, but it's just too bad if this gets to stick around for another turn and then we just never unlock this Demolition Field. Posted my list of... Is this for blue-white control? I've actually been thinking about building blue-white. All right, an opponent just has the Teferi on the play. That is one thing about this mono-red version of the deck. It does do a lot worse against just turn 5 Teferi. We just don't really have an answer for this. Play this Sunken Citadel on red. Play a tablet. Oh, really bad sequencing from me here. Yeah, very, very poor sequencing. Should always play tablet first and then play the land. Okay, we are not punished for it. We just mill a Cleansing Wildfire. Go after an island. It's going to be hard for us to get out from underneath this Teferi, though. Should... Blue-White has a lot of awesome... I like the Fae of Wishes version. And 9 lives is... Like, 9 lives, Blue-White, Prison. Do we have a... So I need to... Forgot what our one-ofs were. All right, opponent has a Beza. We don't have a Sorceress Spyglass. We should probably add a Sorceress Spyglass to the sideboard after this game. All right, looks like opponent is going to get lost this Tablet of Discovery. All right, opponent pluses up the Teferi. Yeah, I will say, these... A lot of decks are starting to intentionally play a ton of basics for the land destruction matchup, so it is making it harder for us. I think we have to try to get a Legend of Roku down this turn. Yeah. Cast the Legend of Roku. If this gets countered... Blue-White Solemnity list a while back, too. The lock just beats a lot of decks, right? I'm trying to think. There's not a whole lot in Pioneer right now that can get out of the lock. Are we casting Scorching Shot or Avengers Disassembled? I think let's just Scorching Shot Beza. This protects our life total. And it lets us save the Avengers Disassembled for Wandering Emperor tokens, but a lot of this doesn't matter. This game is going to come down to this Legend of Roku resolving next turn. If this Legend of Roku doesn't resolve, then we are pretty toast. Opponent has 1 island left. Most decks can't easily deal with the combo, especially backed up by a control shell. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what cards in Pioneer even answer the combo. All right, opponent marches our tablet and untaps 2 lands. All right, we draw another tablet. This Teferi is on 7. We mill a... Opponent has another removal spell for tablet. Yeah, we're... Alright. Oh, big... Oh my gosh, I should have floated in response. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Alright, go after island... Are there any effects that give enchantments hexproof in Pioneer? All right, play Snow-Covered Mountain, pass the turn. I think we're still back to none of this mattering, though, because we're just going to die to Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Opponent has another Beza. Opponent pluses up Teferi again. We're super dead here. We need a Frostbite to keep the Teferi off of ultimate now. Maybe a creature. We don't find the Frostbite. So we have to find a Frostbite this turn. It has to be off of this. Alright, we find the Frostbite. Does it resolve? I know. Yes, I was actually thinking of Spear of Safety the other day. Alright, opponent has a Dovin's Veto. Let's go after Hollowed Fountain. Opponent's going to float a white. Okay. We'll see if they have another counter spell. Grab a mountain. Pass to second main. Flashback Frostbite. Does opponent have another counter spell? Frostbite the Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Okay. We have bought ourselves 3 more turns against Teferi. We take 4 from the Beza. I cannot believe that resolved. I don't know what their hand could be. A bunch of Wandering Emperors. Alright, opponent pluses up. Notably, this Beza will die next turn to double Avengers Disassembled. Alright, opponent untaps 2 lands. Alright, we draw Scorching Shot, but we're just going to double Avengers Disassembled this turn. Go after 2 lands and get this Beza off the battlefield. Opponent floats a blue. They are out of basics. Go to our second main. Opponent lets the blue go away. Second Avengers Disassembled. Go after the Meticulous Archive. Alright, Beza down. Opponent has the Wandering Emperor. Opponent makes a Samurai. Goes to their turn. Flashback is a great top deck. Another Avengers Disassembled to clean up these Samurais is another good top deck. Opponent casts a Stock Up. That's good for them. It's a 1 mana Stock Up with the Teferi untap. And odds they find a counterspell for this Legend of Roku are pretty high. Opponent plays a Verge. They'll get to untap with 5 mana open. They attack us for 2. Teferi is back to 7, so we have 2 turns until we have to answer the Teferi again. We just draw a Sunken Citadel, play this Legend of Roku. Notably, we can pay for a No More Lies here. Legend of Roku resolves. Opponent has a Get Lost for the Legend of Roku, but we still get to draw 3. We exile a Wish. Okay. Play Mountain. Let's go Frostbite on the Wandering Emperor. Pass the turn. We might have made a mistake here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, looks... Opponent has a Get Lost. We have not drawn a Screaming Nemesis in either of these games. We're halfway through our deck with no Screaming Nemesises. Opponent taps out for an Emeritus of Ideation. Gets in for 4. They have a Teferi on 8. So I'm assuming they have another Dovin's Veto for this Wish if they're just tapping out like this. Cast the Wish. Opponent casts Ancestral Recall. Do they find a Dovin's Veto? Wish resolves. Okay. So Chandra, Awaken, Inferno were too far behind on board. For this to do anything. We don't have enough mana to cast Star of Extinction. Yep, so we Chandra, Awakened Inferno, but the minus doesn't kill the Emeritus. We concede. All right. And we're going to do the responsible thing and we're going to mulligan this. All right, this is a much better hand. I wish we had a 1-drop. Ooh, opponent is on Merfolk, so our game 1 hand would have actually been pretty good against what our opponent's doing. Excited to see our opponent's Simic Merfolk deck. All right, let's just cast this Cleansing Wildfire on turn 2. Next turn we can Field of Ruin one of their lands and then use the Frostbite. All right, opponent adapts the Benthic Biomancer. They draw and discard. Oh. Not Merfolk, some sort of Simic Agatha Soul Cauldron deck. Very interesting. Discarding Agatha Soul Cauldron, does that mean they have another Agathas in their hand? That's got to be what that means. Opponent gets in for 2 with the Benthic Biomancer and plays Kumena. I have no idea what's going on here. Just Merfolk with Agatha Soul Cauldron in the deck. So we play Field of Ruin here. We go after Breeding Pool, but then Frostbite cannot hit the Kumena, so we just go after the Benthic Biomancer. Alternatively, we play Sunken Citadel and do nothing else. That sounds not great. Yeah, this is 3 Merfolk to draw cards. Let's go ahead and kill the Benthic Biomancer on our turn. I don't like Simic. Are you an Azorius Merfolk Enjoyer or a mono blue Merfolk Enjoyer? All right, notably our opponent is on 1 basic land. That is great news for us. Arena is apologizing a little bit after putting us against the 7 basic land blue-white control opponent. We are flooding out. Let's get this Legend of Roku down. Let's not get this Legend of Roku down. All right. We have gotten Hex Caught. We're taking 4, whatever, 1 or more. Wow. So they're going to make 3. I don't know what they're doing here. Why are they not activating Mutavault and making 3 tokens? All right. Blow up Mutavault. Yeah, I remember some of your Merfolk lists from back in the day. I like that Azorius has. They have what, two mana lords? Alright, cast a Screaming Nemesis. No attacks. We need to fade a draw this turn. We have flooded out really badly this game. Opponent taps 3 Merfolk to draw a card with the Kumena. Avengers Disassembled off the top wins this one. Screaming Nemesis also is a pretty good blocker here. We'll see what attacks they go with. Okay, so they... Oh, but they can make this unblockable. Okay. Yeah, no blocks. Does this kill us for... Alright, yeah, we're dead. Alright, opponent just drew exactly what they needed off of their 2 draws. This is a fine matchup. If we don't draw 8 lands, we are going to easily be able to take down Simic Merfolk, I think. Yeah, I forgot, what does that Azorius command do? What's it called? Azor Merfolk command spell. I remember it's a sorcery, but Sig's command. Create a copy of target Merfolk you control. Creatures gain lifelink, draw a card, tap a creature. Yeah, I like that. All right. Let's just use our mana efficiently this game. Go after the Botanical Sanctum. The thing about Simic Merfolk is the games that they draw Kumena, the deck looks super broken because Kumena is probably the strongest Merfolk in Pioneer, but then you just have the games where you don't draw Kumena. Honestly, I just want to play Screaming Nemesis. Let's just cast Screaming Nemesis this turn. Alright, opponent has a Flood Pitch Drowner, but this is fine. It wasn't even good in Standard. Yeah, the Standard Merfolk list back then, it had a lot less Merfolk than this Pioneer one does. Alright, opponent has a Shaper Sanctuary. We don't really care about that. And opponent has a Deeproot Pilgrimage. What a bad synergy there. Let's just blow up Mutavault. Stop their life gain. I love this little interaction we have here with Screaming Nemesis plus Avengers Disassembled. That it just turns our Avengers Disassembled into lightning bolts. Alright, opponent hits the Botanical Sanctum, plays a Benthic Biomancer. Alright, we draw another Demolition Field effect, so let's... Oh, we don't have enough mana to... So we can play Tablet of Discovery and then Avengers Disassembled. That seems good. Yep. Play Tablet. Oh, we meal... Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry, guys. Horrible sequencing for me today. Oh my gosh. Alright. Blow up their Merfolk. Opponent has a Breeding Pool. Passes the turn. We are just going to blow up a bunch of lands this turn. Oh. Okay. That is a blowout and a half. All right, I was not not ready for the Tishana's Tidebinder. Forgot that this card exists. Very big blowout from our opponent. Luckily, we have an Avengers Disassembled for next turn. All right, opponent has another Deeproot Pilgrimage. Gets in, makes 2 Merfolk, but Those die all the same to... Those die all the same to this Avengers Disassembled. I've been able to table my Artist Talent Control. Keeps me in the game and lets me win out of nowhere. Artist Talent, was that the... like, your version of Scred with the art? Oh, I've been able to table... What do you mean? I've been able to table my Artist Talent against Control. Keeps me in the game and lets me win out of nowhere fully fueled. What do you mean by able to table in this context? All right. We easily win game number 2 against Merfolk. Oh, if it was, oh, okay. Just like Artist Talent is able to just solo control is what you're saying. I don't think we need to kill this right now. Let's just leave up our Frostbites. Opponent gets in for 1. Alright. We'll use a Frostbite. Merfolk down. Untap, and let's just go after the Mutavault. Opponent has the Hex Catcher. If they want to sacrifice their Hex Catcher to counter this, we're totally fine with that. It's been the greatest card in the deck against Control. I'm surprised to hear that. What? All right, opponent has a Kumena. So against this Kumena, I think we're just going to Demolition Field their breeding pool and then Frostbite Voldaren Hexcatcher this turn. So go after breeding pool. Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that because it's not card advantage. It's just a lot of filtering. Go after the Hexcatcher. It is nice that you get the like damage boosting effect later in the game. All right, let's play Snow-Covered Mountain. And let's go Avengers Disassembled. Do 3 damage, blow up Mutavault. Opponent flip. Wow, I cannot believe that that resolved. All right, pass the turn. Opponent has a Flood Pitch Drowner. Kill Kumena. And opponent scoops it up. Let's go. Yeah, super easy match against 1 basic Simic Merfolk. We're going to mulligan this Zero Lander. And this hand is not great, but I think it's better than the average 5. Sunken Citadel on red, pass. Opponent has a turn 1 Omen Hawker. This probably means that something broken is going on. Draw a card, then discard a card, create a treasure. Wow. I have no idea what is happening to us, but I'm scared. Blew up 6 lands this morning and drew 8 cards. Yeah, I mean, these decks are so fun. I think the people on Arena are tired of playing against them, but it is what it is. All right, opponent is going to draw and discard. Let's see what they are discarding here. They discard a Fatal Push. Let's kill the Omen Hawker. We're fine trading for a counter spell here. Omen Hawker down. Collector's Vault is live. The Enigma Jewel. Gonna have to give this a little reread. Enters tapped, adds 2 colorless, spent only to use activated abilities. Craft with 4 more non-lands. Has each activated ability of the cards to craft it whenever you... Okay. Play a mountain. And I guess we're just... Or no, we have... That was a different game. Avengers disassembled the island. Pass the turn. I have no idea what our opponent's doing over there. They have at least 3 islands in their deck. I'd imagine probably 1 swamp. I think I'm a fan of what... Yeah, whatever they're doing is really cool. For sure. I'm just scared that we're going to just die out of nowhere and there's not going to be a lot that we can do about it. Opponent discards another Fatal Push. They're looking at our graveyard. I don't know what that means. Yeah. Opponent's thinking they can draw and discard again. They've just discarded a bunch of Fatal Pushes. And then they pass the turn. We draw another Frostbite. What are we doing here? We wish. There's not really anything for 1 mana that we can get. Let's just leave up these flashbacks. Yeah, like we're going to force them to do something here for sure. Any of our 8 Cleansing Wildfire effects are going to be our best draws for us. They can... Okay, what is this? All right, are we figuring it out? Whenever this creature attacks, defending player mills half their library rounded up. Okay. Do they have a way to double this? We're going to kill this. Frostbite. Flashback Frostbite. So they're a mill deck. Wow, okay, they were... Sure, Jace the Perfected Mind resolves. And they mill themselves for 3. And they mill 2 basic islands. We draw another flashback. Okay. We have another Frostbite, so... That's what it looked... I have no idea what's going on here. Unfortunately, we are just drawing actually nothing. Our opponent draws and discards. We don't have anything we can do this turn. We're just spectating. All right, we're going to get hit with this turn. There goes half our library. At least this gets a Cleansing Wildfire in the library or in the graveyard for us to blow up some of their lands with. All right, we draw a Demolition Field. Let's start to do some basic checking. Could be Metalwork Colossus. These must just be for... the looting. All right, go after island. 1, 2, 3. Man, we just cannot get lucky. Opponent has a fairy mastermind. I have no idea what's going on. So next turn we can wish for a 3-drop. Any number of target players. Okay. I respect it, opponent. We are somehow always against every Pioneer deck that's on like 8 basics whenever we play this mono red deck. It is so unlucky. Give us the Grease Fang. Give us the Golgari. Yeah, I have no idea, honestly, what just happened to us. I guess we got... Okay, I was thinking about that. Like, give us Blood Moon. Give us Ensnaring Bridge for this deck. What else would just be really good? Relic of Progenitus. That one's not as exciting. I mean, I would settle for Magus of the Moon. Oh, if you have half of your deck milled, River Churn just wins. Okay, so I see. So they're trying to combo that card with Unearth with the River Churn, that artifact. Gotcha. All right, we will keep this. Frostbite does not seem to do anything against their deck. We'll put this back. Luckily, we drew a Screaming Nemesis this game, so this will actually put some pressure on our opponent. Oh, they have a Thoughtseize. I'd imagine, yep, Screaming Nemesis is down. And we are on a ton of Field of Ruins. Having a Sunken Citadel to turn all of these on would be nice. Now, what is going on? Pay 2 life, copy target, activated. Okay, so this also, you may choose new targets for the copy. All right, opponent's deck is very cool. Pass the turn. See what their... All right, opponent's on 2 lands. A little bit punished for... Okay, no. Opponent has 3 lands. Yeah, blow up this creature land. Yeah, what's up, Thorant? Hope you're doing well. We get one of at least 7 of the basics. So we're going to have to win with this Wish this game. So we Field of Ruin, blow up 1, get a mountain. So we can't double this turn, but let's go ahead and put this Demolition Field into play. Next turn we might look to Wish for the 3-mana Chandra. All right, opponent plays another creature. Avengers Disassembled is looking like a great draw, doing good, and came to see about what's going on in Pioneer. Yeah, I've been playing quite a bit of Pioneer lately, trying to brew and see what is possible in the format. Okay, so here's this Monument again. Any number of target players. So this is what we have to watch out for with that Unearth card. So now they get to copy it, and then we mill 4 is what's going on here. We really want to mill and okay, so we mill an Avengers Disassembled. They mill the Mindbreaker, so we could just be dead next turn. We don't have anything to flash back at instant speed, so we take 4. and go after this looting land. Are we wishing for Grafdigger's Cage here? Grafdigger's Cage shutting this off. They're doing something in our upkeep. Yeah, so there's no way for us to stop this Unearth this turn. We Field of Ruin, that leaves us with 3 lands, so not enough to... Not enough to wish, so let's grab Grafdigger's Cage. Hopefully they don't have a counter spell here. Nice, I play Standard and Sealed. I've heard really good things about Standard recently. I used to play it quite a bit back in the day. Recently, I haven't played too much Standard, so what have you been playing? I know that the Lessons decks are also pretty good in Standard, just like they are in Pioneer. All right, so we got this Mindbreaker. At least, to be honest, it's the worst format. Well, I recommend at least giving Pioneer a try. I think it's a lot of fun. You can have some pretty uninteractive games. Okay, so they... Oh boy, so this is going to mill us for 8 and then 16. So we're at 20 cards in the deck. That's kind of a cool combo. We can shut it down with the Avengers Disassembled. Oh, and this is only a one-time use. Got it. So let's go Avengers Disassembled on Darkslick Shores, and then leave up Field of Ruin. I play my own brews, really. I climb with Sultai Control. That's what I wanted to see going on. Maybe I cook something up. I think Pioneer, there's a lot of room for brewing right now. If you look at my stream decker, I play a lot of Izzet decks just due to the arena economy really encouraging you to stick to like certain color combinations. All right, opponent has a Quantum Riddler, but I do think the arena metagame, or sorry, not the arena metagame, the Pioneer metagame is pretty open, all things considered. You do have to keep in mind that you are going to get Thought Seized a lot in this format, so if you like casting Thoughtseize, you're going to love it. If you don't like getting Thoughtseized, Pioneer can be a little bit rough. All right, how are we answering this Quantum Riddler? We have 6 mana, so not enough to be flashing back these wishes yet. Yeah, we don't have a lot of great options here. So we flash back... we have not hit... Yeah, okay, so what are we... I think we're just flashing back a card draw spell here. Grab a Price of Freedom. Oh! I forgot, we're pretty dead here. Our own Grafdigger's Cage stops us from flashing back this Price of Freedom. Yeah, we're dead to this Quantum Riddler. Good game, opponent. Very cool deck. Good for me as well. I've been playing it in... There's some cool Jeskai control lists that are using... Wow, this hand is terrible. That are using the tablet to cast Jeskai Revelations, and... I have Sphinx of the Final Word in those decks as a juke for the blue-white control. Alright, looks like we have not played against food in a while. Let's go ahead and kill the Mana Dork on turn 1. Alright, we're drawing A lot of lands. Yeah, Azorius Control is one of the tier 1 decks in Pioneer. If you're looking at the Pioneer metagame, your S tier, tier 1, whatever you want to call it, is going to be Golgari midrange. It's going to be either Orzhov or Abzan Greasefang combo. Whatever the flavor of the month Greasefang deck is, it kind of waxes and wanes, but they're both doing basically the same thing. And then Blue-White Control are going to be your 3 S tier decks. And then after that tier, it's super wide open. There's these land destruction decks, there's Lotus Field combo decks. There are a lot of Izzet decks, or any Garrick deck. So you're a green player is what I'm hearing. Mono Green Devotion is good in Pioneer, though, if that's something that you want to play. There's a couple different versions. There's one that's using fight rigging. I think that's similar to Standard, where they're using fight rigging to cheat out some big Eldrazi. Then there's more standard mono green devotion lists that are using just Land of War elves to cast some of the big 4/4 3-drops and up their devotion. All right, opponent has a Badgermole Cub here. They cast a Witherbloom Charm. I'm actually not sure what's going on. Just maybe some sort of Golgari midrange pile. Originally, I'm a mill player, but I like anything that annoys opponents. I think you would like these land destruction decks. They are super good at annoying people. We need an Avengers Disassembled off the top. Just a Field of Ruin. All right, so we are going to... So we flash back Frostbite and then Scorching Shot Badgermole Cub. Alternatively, we just play Screaming Nemesis as a blocker. We flash back on Cleansing Wildfire. Yeah, let's just kill the Badgermole Cubs here. This protects us from them having a super explosive turn next turn. I don't love having to use the removal spells like this, but letting our opponent untap with 2 Badgermole Cubs is just way too dangerous. To be honest, I would cook a deck with Shieldred plus... Oh, yeah, like a blue... Or like Dimir Shieldred plus Mathemagics. That... Well, you probably need to be Sultai to get the ramp to be able to cast Mathemagics. How much mana do you need to kill your opponent? Is it 16? Okay, so opponent was just food all along. They have Yarga next turn. Complete Mill is 12 mana. Okay, so that's... You need loot. Okay, 1 turn late on the Avengers Disassembled. Let's just go double blow up their lands this turn. Blow up Overgrown Tomb. Get a snow-covered mountain. And, yeah, Avengers... Oh, well, opponent's out of basics. Okay. They have a swamp in hand, but that's huge. Yeah, having that, oh, I forgot what Resonating Loot. Is that the name of the Izzet loot that doubles the... Man, you could... I think the 2 easiest ways to get to 12 mana would either be that loot or Badgermole Cub. That is, of course, the other way to make a bunch of mana. All right, we draw Flashback. Flashback on Swamp is super tempting this turn. Or Flashback on Swamp. Flashback on Cleansing Wildfire for... Actually, let's get their Forest. This cuts them off of Mana Dorks and Badgermole Cubs. All right, opponent floats a green. Would really just love to draw another Cleansing Wildfire effect. Just a Sunken Citadel. Play this on red, pass the turn. Does our opponent have another Witherbloom command? Yeah, doubles mana. But with Shelly, you can just kill them with that. Yeah, how much mana do you need with Shieldred on the battlefield to kill with Math the Magics? All right, we find a Legend Oroku. This is a great draw. Any Field of Ruin effects? Any... Okay, we find an Avengers Disassembled. Yep, so let's go 3 damage, blow up Swamp. Opponent scoops it up. Yeah, we had the Wish for next turn. Okay. We are against Food, which is usually one of the decks that is a nemesis for me, but they're only on 3 basics. And again, we are playing a Wish sideboard with 15 one-ofs, so usually for sideboarding, we just click submit and go back. I think it's 8. Because it's what? 1, 2, 4, 8. And then they draw 8 cards and take... Yeah, Shieldred does 2 per draw. So if they were at 16, then 8 would kill them. And that's pretty reasonable. Like, you know, you hit them and then pass a turn and they could likely be dead. I think we're onto something here. Either like a Dimir control, which is Mathemagic's Shieldred. Is it an instant? Or is it a sorcery math? Mathemagic's MTG. Okay, it is a sorcery. Yeah, so for 8 mana, they draw 8. So if they're at 16, then... And opponents going to 16 in Pioneer is somewhat common. That's 2 shocks. I use this tech in Standard with Needlehead, but he does 1. Yeah, Shieldred makes it a lot easier. Okay, this hand, we're on the draw against Golgari Food, but I think we have to mulligan the 1-lander. If this was a 2-lander, I'd keep it, but... All right, we'll keep this and put one of the 2 wishes back. I really like that just in our opening hand, we have a way to get them out of basics. All right, opponent has a Witch's Oven. Oh, that was the best draw possible. Sunken Citadel on red. Pretty sure I have lost to this list that you two are brainstorming. It sounds kind of sweet. I do like in Pioneer that you can... Oh, opponent has a Duress. That's pretty good. They can take this Price of Freedom here. No, they can't take our Demolition Fields. A mainstay of the Pioneer format for pretty much its entire existence has been like blue-black 2-card combo decks that are just using Thoughtseize to protect it. So I think that's just the next... We're brewing the next iteration of that. I brew a lot in Standard. From what I've heard, you know, Standard is relatively close to Pioneer in regards to like what the strong cards are. Yep, we're just going to start Field of Ruining their lands. We now have 3 of these effects, so we can get our opponents out of basics They have double Witch's Oven for the cat, which is not great. My favorite so far is Scarlet Spider Bounce Fenrir's. Is that... I think I'm familiar with that. Yeah, turn 4. I've played against that in Pioneer, actually. There is a Gruul Legends deck that does a very similar thing, and yeah, it's a sweet combo. All right, opponent has a Dredger's Insight. Do they hit... Oh, they hit a cat. Okay. So if they can ever get a food onto the battlefield... Let's see. Okay, they get back a Badgermal Cub. Do they have a land? And they have a land. And a Thoughtseize. All right, so they're going to take our Wish. You're probably seeing that from my Moxby. All right, so I think we're just blowing up another land this turn. There's nothing we can get off the Wish. So blow up this Blooming Marsh. But opponent can Badgermal Cub this turn, and then that will give them a creature to sacrifice to get the Cauldron Familiar back. Notably, we can wish for a Grafdigger's Cage to shut off the Cauldron Familiar. Been working on a black-green oven deck with Tezzeret lately. Oh, the new colorless Tezzeret. I keep forgetting that we do have a Tezzeret that has no colors now. Yeah, colorless. That it gets a loyalty counter whenever an artifact enters. Oh, that's black-green. So with... Yeah, you put a loyalty counter every time you do the Cauldron Familiar loop. All right, opponent has the Scavenger's Talent. Yeah, I think we have to wish for Grafdigger's Cage this turn. Toolbox with all the removal and return from the yard cards. Yeah, and I like that because Tezzeret, his minus is a tutor. Do we have enough mana to tablet and still wish? No, we don't. So 4, we play 3, play a land, go to 4, tap 3 for the tablet. That's 1 mana left over. So no, we don't have enough to wish and cast a Grafdigger's Cage this turn. So we just have to wish. They don't have anything on the battlefield that stops us right after. We wish. Cast this Grafdigger's Cage. Pass the turn. All right, so opponent can get the Cauldron Familiar back twice. We're going to take some damage from an attack on this next turn, but Grafdigger's Cage shuts a lot of their deck off. The Yarga stops the Yarga combo and stops them from reanimating stuff with the Scavenger's Talent. So, all right, we take our 3. Grafdigger's Cage comes down. We pass the turn. Use Ultron with Dubious Delicacy. I am not familiar with those cards. Let's look up Dubious Delicacy. Given this one a read for the first time. When this enters up to 1 target creature gets -3/-3. Oh, so it's just a food. All right. Yeah, I'm here for... All right, let's see what our opponent has. Yeah, artifact with 3 flash, -3/-3. And it's a food to go with the rest of the deck. All right, really hoping we do not get Thoughtseize this turn. All right, opponent just levels up the Scavenger's talent, so they're going to try to mill us out, it looks like. Oh, man, we are flooding out super hard this game. Play the tablet. But this is the second time this has came up today. We cannot cast this because of the Grafdigger's Cage. So the fact that this has come up twice maybe makes me want to cut this cage. I don't know. Like, I hate this. The fact that this has happened twice to us today does have me questioning the Grafdigger's Cage a little bit, but I don't know. It's also completely stopping our opponent from doing anything, so maybe it is worth it to leave it in. We're looking for another Wish, any of our land destruction effects. Avengers Disassembled would be the best draw for us. We take 3. And does opponent have anything to speed the clock up? We have four more turns just with what's on the battlefield. None of these really do much. Yeah, Avengers Disassembled off the top probably closes this one out. Other good draws are Legend of Roku. Wish is not that great right now. We don't have... Oh, opponent has a Boseiju. That's pretty bad. We can cast off of Roku. Roku exiles the cards, and then you cast them from exile. All right, play Snow-Covered Mountain, and I guess we'll wait for them to do the cat thing twice so they don't get a free one off the Badgermole Cub, but we flooded pretty hard this game. I think we're going to be settling this match in game 3. All right, opponent's going to put us to 10. But the problem here is we're now just dead to the combo. So cat's coming back. This deck uses so much clicking. All right, opponent mills 2. If they find Yargo, we'll just scoop it up. Cat's in. Oh, sorry. Now we'll... Oh, wait. Make them sack the cat. Oh, opponent... Well, we're fine with this. They don't have a Yarga in the graveyard yet. Yeah, no Yarga yet. But they are halfway through their deck. Odds that they find it this turn are pretty high. Let's see if they level up the Scavenger's talent. All right. Come on, opponent. So we were kind of talking about the Pioneer metagame before. This is another one of those decks that it's in that like tier 2 range of... It's not quite as good as Golgari, blue-white, and we are dead to this. All right. Game 3. So the food variants, there's 2 versions of it. There's a Golgari food version, and there is a Jund food version that is on the, oh man, Mayhem Devil. But it's just in that like tier 2 of the Pioneer metagame. It's after your green-black, Greasefang, blue-white control. We can put Izzet in tier 1, whatever the Izzet flavor of the week is. I hate this. Yeah, I don't really like playing against the food deck too much. It has a lot of clicking. It's very resilient, too. As we saw there, plays around Graveyard Hate pretty easily. I like our opponent's version of the deck quite a bit, actually. They're usually not playing Transverse the Uvenwald. So I'm from North America, but I'm not living in North America right now. But yeah, so our I'm trying to think. So what else is in tier 2 of Pioneer? It's definitely food, land destruction. Red Prowess is tier. Oh, I forgot about Red Prowess. Yeah, it's Boros Burn is tier 2. Where do I live? So I don't want to DOS myself too much. I live somewhere in Asia. I'll just leave it at that. So it's Sunday morning for me. And yeah, I forgot about Red Prowess. They're a that's a tier 1 deck too. I always forget about them because for some reason I never run into mono red. I'm Greek and live in the UK. So how'd you end up in the UK, just for college or work? If you're fine sharing. If not, that's also totally cool. X. Oh, but uh-oh. Sounds, yeah. the I don't know, don't want to say the worst answer, but the most brutal answer. I will say I haven't been to Europe yet. I do want to go at some point, and going and seeing some of the old places in Greece is definitely on my to-do list. Move back to EU probably next. Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I don't know why I was saying the UK is on the continent of Europe, but it is not the EU. I think go to Germany. Yeah, I had a friend that lived in Germany for a couple years. He liked it. He wasn't in Berlin, so the language barrier was kind of a problem for him, but MTG scene is great. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I really like Menguchi, and so I've heard the Magic scene just in Europe in general is really good. I think we're casting an Avengers Disassembled this turn. I don't love that we don't get to cast the sweeper part of it, but just passing on turn 3 after not doing anything feels a little bit rough. We could leave the Frostbite up. It's close on what to do here. The flashback in my hand to be able to recast an Avengers Disassembled again is one reason that we cast this. They only have 3 basics. Love the Portuguese players. Which pros are Portuguese? Paulo is Brazilian, so not Portuguese. Oh, is the guy that has the 1-drop red creature? He's Portuguese, right? Oh man, what is the name of that card? The 1 mana 1/1 that when it attacks, it can give another thing +1/+1, and you can equip swords to it for free. Fervent Champion. I forgot his name, but I really liked watching him back in the day. That was a crazy run that he had. All right, opponent has nothing on turn 3. So I think what's about to happen to us here is they are going to cast the Witherbloom command. But I think we're fine trading Field of Ruin for Blooming Marsh here, because this still puts them down a land former world champ runner-up, whose name I can't remember right now, lost to BDD. Well, in that case, I have to support my boy Shahar, who I don't know if I'm familiar with. Shahar, are they a newer pro or an older pro? Okay, this Field of Ruin just resolves. Grab a snow-covered mountain. They get a swamp. One of the kindest people to play the game. Oh, 2013, 2014. Okay, so that was a little bit before I played. Are they on a card? Okay, opponent hits a Cauldron Familiar and a Yarga. So we are at danger of dying to the combo if opponent gets the Artist Town. Opponent just gets a Beseju back, so we do need to keep that in mind. Let's go to his turn and... Or, sorry, go to our turn. His... Play a mountain. What can we wish for 2 mana? Sorry, let me pull up the Stream Decker. I don't remember all 15 cards in our sideboard. So we have Lava Coil, Magebane Lizard for 2 mana, Damping Sphere, Grafdigger's Cage. So nothing great to go and get off of the wishes right now. So let's just play Snow-Covered Mountain. I guess we could get... Actually, let's wish for... Wish for our Soul Guide Lantern. And... hit this Cauldron Familiar. Go watch those championships when you have the time. 2013, 2014. He's in Brussels right now. He qualified for tomorrow. Which standard was 2013, 2014? Which, like, about what sets were in standard? And he qualified right now for... Is there a tournament in Brussels tomorrow? Because I know the Pro Tour just happened. All right. Snipe this Cauldron Familiar from their graveyard. Do they have a way at instant speed to make a food? And they do not. All right, Cauldron Familiar down. Pass the turn. Dragon's Maze. Okay. So that was... I was technically playing Magic then, but that was when it was just my friend throwing cards at me in high school and saying, read these and we'll try to figure it out. I would, like, not any reasonable deck building, you know, our decks were 80 cards and nothing super coherent. I started in Theros and I was, I only remember Dragon's Maze because from that set there was a Simic Mythic Progenitor something, and opponent has another Cauldron Familiar. I think we're going to cycle this Soul Guide Lantern here. Well, okay, so there's no way for us to get this Cauldron Familiar. I think we just have to cycle this. Well, this keeps the loop shut off. We'll wait a turn. Oh, okay, we hit a tablet. That's good. This lets us get some of our bigger stuff off of the Wish. Would love to hit one of our 2-mana land destruction spells off of this. We just hit a mountain. Oh, sorry. Let's go Wish for... we're in the spot where we just have 2 mana again. Let's just leave up Frostbite and Flashback this turn. Leave up the Soul Guide Lantern, pass. We will exile their graveyard if they sacrifice this Cauldron Familiar. Theros was the start of drafting as well, right? Khan's block and the next several standards were amazing. Yeah, so I started playing after cons. Our opponent has a cash grab. They do not hit a squirrel to create a food token. All right, they just get an overgrown tomb back. Yeah, if they sacrifice this Cauldron Familiar, we will cash in the Soul Guide Lantern. And opponent just untaps. Drafting... Okay, yeah, this was way before my time. Was drafting at one point just a... Oh, competitive draft? Like for the Pro Tour? I did not know that. All right. Opponent gets in with the Cauldron Familiar. They are at 5 lands and still have 1 swamp left in the deck. Are they just hardcasting a Yarga this turn? Okay, they are hardcasting a Yarga this turn. We don't currently have an answer to this. Yeah, we do not have any food to sacrifice to this to Avengers Disassembled plus Frostbite. And 6 toughness gets around all of our damage-based removal. So go to our turn, see what we draw. We just draw another flashback. So we have 2 Avengers Disassembled. Do we have 8 mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have exactly enough mana to double Avengers Disassembled. All right, I'll take it. Oh, Kai's first. I thought it was way before Thero. Yeah, definitely way before my time. All right, go after. Let's just go after their black sources here. We can hit Overgrown Tomb and they have 1 more swamp, but they have a lot of green sources. So, yep, go after swamp. They'll get another swamp. I first drafted with a... Oh. So Yarga's going to live. Forgot they could do this. All right, so Cat's down. Yarga's at 8. So we're taking 8 next turn. Whenever a food is put into a graveyard from the battlefield. So they can make Yarga a 10 next turn. All right, flashback. The other Avengers disassembled. And, oh, they have 4 basics. So they must have had one of them in their hand last turn. All right, go after Overgrown Tomb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Does this have trample? No. So next turn we might just be chump blocking with Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Yeah, this Yarga's brutal. Opponent has a cash grab. They don't find a cat. 2018 is when draft came to Arena. When did Arena... When was Arena actually made? It's been so long, like same year 20. So Arena's been out for 8 years. That's right, because the first deck I remember playing was back in War of the Spark. Man, what year was War of the Spark? That was 2019? I can't believe it's been that long. All right, opponent has a Badger Mole Cub. Earthbends onto the swamp. I heard some people say they started in 2016. 2019. Okay, so War of the Spark was 2019. 2016, so Arena's been out for 10 years? Wow. time fly. I wonder when. I don't think I made my account in alpha. All right. Oh, so now we pop Soul Guide Lantern, but they can still get the cat back, but this gets rid of their swamp. Do they have the loop here? They have one cat? They have the... Okay, so Yarga's a 12. 13, 14, 15, 16. And then with the Witch's Oven, yeah, we're dead. All right. Brutal to lose that one in 3. I thought we had a decent matchup there, but like I said, food, that deck is my nemesis. They always just find a way to sneak out the win with Yarga. Isn't bad either. Is there any ramp in Pioneer? So the best ramp is in green. The combo of 8 1-mana elves plus Badgermole Cub is the best ramp package in Pioneer. There's not really any artifact ramp or like, can I use Soulstone? I do see as like a 1 of or 2 of in some of the Golgari decks. All right, we're against Kahira Control, and they are snapping off a Consult the Star Charts on turn 2. I have no idea what that means. All right, past the turn, we kept a 2-lander. Oh yeah, running a Boreal Grazer, that is good. Specifically if you're like going for Lotus Field. And oh boy, this card solos our deck. Go after the Fountain Port. So we're not having great luck against blue-white control today. The first time we played against blue-white, we played against the version that had 7 basics, and now we're playing against main deck High Noon. We're going to go ahead and scoop it up in game number 1 here after missing our 3rd land drop. This is a really hard matchup. The High Noons basically solo our deck. It was something I was thinking about while brewing, that there's not a lot of options in mono red to deal with enchantments, kind of by design, but because of that, High Noon is almost unbeatable for us. Yeah, some Black Devotion decks use it, but I'm not sure it's worth it. A lot of the Soulstone decks have been another 1-lander. 1-lander with triple Frostbite, mulligan. All right. Sure, keep this, put back Frostbite and 1 snow-covered mountain. Citadel on red, pass. They're only doing it as like a 1 of or a 2 of from what I've seen. If I do Dimir, I only need 1. Yeah. That's usually what I've seen out of them is just like the 1 Soulstone as some late game insurance, especially in the Golgari decks. It can be a little bit hard for decks to interact with it. All right, blow up the Hollowed Fountain. Opponent gets an island. We'll get a mountain. Pass the turn. Let's see if they have the turn 2 High Noon. Opponent plays a Verge and passes. We cast a Screaming Nemesis. This is a card that I wanted to see more of today, and we've just like not drawn it at all, which is kind of an... Ooh, opponent has a Narset Parter of Veils. Kind of like to see this. We can kill this and keep the pressure on. All right, opponent has a Get Lost, but we have a second Screaming Nemesis. Kill the Narset, hit our opponent for 3. Put together this Dimir control for my friend a couple days ago. I don't think the link worked. All right, opponent gets lost on one of the Screaming Nemesises and passes. Are they missing a land drop? If you put a link there, Badfish, it didn't work. I'm not sure if that's something that I need to change on my end to let links get posted. Okay, it's gotta be. I will. Oh wow, opponent exiled two. They exiled a High Noon. No way, opponent. That card solos us. You can't be exiling that. All right. Cast Legend of Roku while our opponent is shields down. And cast this, or play this Field of Ruin past the turn. That must be a setting that I have set. I'll look into that to let everybody post links. I'll look in that after today's stream, because it's a little bit annoying to not be able to post those. All right, let's add a red with this and just go double land. Oh, I forgot. Arena hates tapping Sunken Citadel when you have floating mana. All right, Field of Ruin, Verge. Should have a setting to prevent links because of bots. Yeah, I have one of the settings set that makes it so like any accounts have to be, oh, opponent has the flanker. Okay, that's fine. That your account has to be, I think, a week or 2 weeks old. So it stops a lot of the bots, but there's some bots that I guess just have an account that's been around long enough. All right, opponent just gains 2 life and scries 2, so they're looking for a land. Kind of crazy for them to play this into the known Frostbite. All right, opponent goes 2 to the top and then shuffles with Field of Ruin. All right, I think now we can play this Field of Ruin. Hit the Deserted Beach and then Cleansing Wildfire. Yeah. Plus Frostbite. So go after Deserted Beach. Grab a mountain, and then we'll attempt to blow up both islands, but I'm assuming that... Oh. They get a plane, so go after this island. Draw a card. Alright, we hit a wish. Blow up this island. Now, if this is the standard blue-white list, this should be their last island. We'll see if they're also packing a bunch of basic lands. They're not. Okay. Kill this flanker with the Frostbite that's exiled off the Legend of Roku. Pass. We may have gotten there against High Noon blue-white. This deck you play with Electro could be bonkers. Electro Dominance. All right, we flip Legend of Roku. Blow up this Plains. Let's see. Do they have an answer for the Legend of Roku? They have an answer for the Legend of Roku. Opponent. We are notably 1, 2... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's the one that whenever you cast a red spell, you make a red mana. All right, opponent 3-for-1s themselves to blow up the Legend of Roku. We Price of Freedom. They are missing their land drops. We don't have anything for 2 mana that's great. We could get a Magebane Lizard here, but let's just pass and use our wishes for better cards next turn. All right. Opponent plays the Anchorage and concedes. We're settling this one in game 3. I could see running an Electro in the sideboard to stack up a bunch of red mana to allow us to get to these cards easier. Is there anything I'm missing that lets us blow up High Noon in mono red? Are there any artifacts that randomly blow up enchantments? Oh, what about Blast Zone? Blast Zone. But we can't tutor. The problem is we can't tutor for it. All right, we're going to keep this. Sunken Citadel plus double land destruction, and we have Price of Freedom. Is Ratchet Bomb in Pioneer? I don't think I've ever seen. Oh, opponent has a Field of Ruin too. So we are going to blow up their Field of Ruin with our Field of Ruin. We want to protect this Sunken Citadel. It's just going to generate so much mana for us this game. A little bit brutal to help them with colors, but I think it's fine. Yeah, I need to check that. Is Ratchet Bomb... It is Pioneer legal. All right, grab a mountain. It made the cutoff. Oh, yeah, it did. Okay, that actually could be... Oh, opponent has the flanker. What are they doing? Gain 2 life, scry 2. We'll kill this. That's a good one that we should have in the sideboard. It deals with tokens. It deals with a lot of stuff. No High Noon. All right, no High Noon. The only problem with putting it in the sideboard is... All right, go after the Hollowed Fountain. Is High Noon shuts off our wish, so we can't... We can't wish for an answer to the High Noon. So we could maybe be building our sideboard in a way that we maybe have 5 cards to bring in. All right, grab a mountain, pass the turn. I have a feeling they're going to consult the star charts here with this extra mana. And if they do that, then it opens up our... Yep, so here's the kicked consult the star charts, but this lets us go for a Price of Freedom that can't be countered. Yeah, so now we'll continue to go after the islands. Proliferate something to look into. To up... Just in general, or like to up the counters on Ratchet Bomb? All right, opponent. This is their last island. They have 1 more plains. An opponent passes the turn. Let's cast a Cleansing Wildfire targeting island. Opponent has a No More Lies. No More Lies resolves. Play a land, cast a Price of Freedom targeting Deserted Beach. Now let's just go after island. Does opponent have another copy of No More Lies? Opponent has a Dovin's Veto. Okay. All right, opponent has answered our land destruction. Oh, Ugin. So Ugin takes 11 mana to cast. All right, opponent has a Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Gross. If this tablet gets countered, we're in a lot of trouble here. So Ugin costs 11 mana. We draw a Wish, but we don't have enough mana to cast anything useful off of it. Tablet resolve, please. Tablet resolves. Let's go. We hit a Price of Freedom off the tablet. Go after Island. Please, Field of Ruin off of this draw. One time. We draw a card off the Price of Freedom. All right, so this is their last planes that they're getting off of this. World Breaker. We hit a Field of Ruin. Do not panic. Oh, Ugin the Inef. Oh, I forgot about the 6 mana. Yeah, that's the one that reduces colorless spells by 2. That one was from War of the Spark. Yeah, World Breaker. So how hard is green mana to add to this deck? Our opponent has an unkicked Consult the Star Charts. We are passing. If we draw another Demolition Field effect next turn, I think we can outgrind this Teferi. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. 6, 7. We need 9 mana for 6 mana Chandra. All right, opponent finds another blue source. Come on, we need a Field of Ruin or a Demolition Field off the top is crazy here. Yeah, so I think, yeah, Stomping Grounds in Copperline Gorge for a green splash, and then that. Oh, opponent puts Kahira into their hand. So odds of us getting to resolve a spell going up. We go to our turn. We draw a mountain. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're 1 mana short from, yeah, Copperline Gorge is the Golgari or Gruul Fastland. We are 1 mana short from casting the 6 mana uncounterable Chandra. What else is in our sideboard that we can cast? We have Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Legend of Roku. We could get Chandra Dress to kill. Alternatively, we just cast a... Let's go Screaming Nemesis plus a flashback this turn. Screaming Nemesis resolves. Attack Teferi. Opponent gets lost our Screaming Nemesis. That resolves. Flashback. Target Price of Freedom. Blow up Anchorage. Field of Ruin off this draw. Or Demolition Field. I will accept either one. We do not hit either of those. Play Snow-Covered Mountain tapped. This is fine, though. This is more card draw, and it does let us wish for Big Chandra. I think next turn we're going to do a similar thing. We're going to cast a Screaming Nemesis, attack Teferi. Opponent plays a Hollowed Fountain untapped. They've drawn Runner blue sources, which is very good for them. We draw a Cleansing Wildfire. All right. Cast Screaming Nemesis. So same thing as last turn. Go to combat. Very likely that they have the Wandering Emperor here. But we just need to get them... Okay, so they have the Wandering Emperor, but this is fine. We get to actually resolve our spells now. So play... Cleansing Wildfire, Hollowed Fountain. See what we draw. We draw Sunken Citadel. Play Tablet of Discovery. Mill a flashback. If we drew an untapped land, we could have flashbacked a Price of Freedom. So let's just flashback Frostbite on the Wandering Emperor. So flashback. Or are we flashbacking onto Fairy? I don't think so. We have 2 turns until this ultimates, but I think next turn we're going to go for Big Chandra. Yeah, so let's... What are we doing here? So we flashback on here. This gets us 3 more turns against the ultimate. Now, let's just kill Wandering Emperor. They can play Kahira, and then that becomes a really fast clock. All right, Sunken Citadel on red. Next turn, we have Wish for 6 mana Chandra. Opponent pluses up the big Teferi. I think if 6 mana Chandra lives or resolves, we're good. Opponent casts Kahira, untaps Plains. We draw a Legend of Roku. All of our last spells have resolved. Cast Wish. Wish resolves. It's gotta be... Chandra Awakened Inferno. So can one Chandra Awakened Inferno deal with a Teferi emblem? She has 6 loyalty. I think we can. Get Chandra Awakened Inferno. Cast the Chandra Awakened Inferno. Notably, oh, this is a cat beast, not an elemental. So we could minus. This puts them in an awkward position where... So we could... No, we're not minusing on the Teferi. So plus up Chandra. So this puts them in a position where they have to decide if they're going to ultimate the Teferi and get rid of it for the emblem, or are they going to minus on the Chandra? Let's see what they decide to do here. If they minus on the Teferi, minus the Teferi on the Chandra, then it's not great. Oh, opponent has an Otawara. All right. That actually doesn't make a whole lot of sense. All right, opponent pluses up the Teferi. We need a flash. Frostbite would be a good top deck. They draw all the Storm Giants. Yeah, I don't know if Chandra's going to be enough to win us this game. We'll see. Opponent gets in for 3 with Kahira. Opponent untaps their Hall of the Storm Giants. We need a Field of Ruin. Okay, we draw Cleansing Wildfire. So it's Cleansing Wildfire, Hall of the Storm Giants. See what we draw. Drawing a Frostbite to stop this Teferi ultimate for a turn. Okay, we draw a Wish. All right, are we just replaying Chandra? They ultimate Teferi. Their deck doesn't play that many ways to draw cards, like after they ultimate this Teferi. So we play Chandra, plus up, give them a second emblem. We go back, we give them a third emblem, and then they can exile the Chandra. I think that's our best line here. I don't love it. Alternatively, we just play Chandra and minus. Let's see, we -2, put Teferi to 7, and then she's at 4 and survives the Kahira attack. Then they have to decide if they want to minus. Let's do that. -2, put Teferi to 7. Chandra survives this attack from Kahira. And so they have to decide if they want to minus their Teferi again to get rid of this Chandra, or if they're just going to try an ultimate. Very tight game here. We have this Wish for next turn. We can look to get a... So next turn, we can get the Sorceress Spyglass, see what they have in their hand. All right, they draw creature land, so we need something to answer this. We could also wish for Star of Extinction. All right, they attack Chandra down to 1. They pass the turn, they untap the Anchorage. Why are they activating this? I don't think they meant to do this. Okay, nice. We draw a Demolition Field. We are 100% plussing up Chandra this turn. So we can start with a plus. Play Demolition Field. Blow up the Anchorage. The opponent is out of basics. They have 2 blue sources left on the battlefield. Grab a snow-covered mountain. And the fact that they didn't even float a blue leads me to believe that they don't have any counter spells. We have 5, 6, 7. We have 6 mana for non-instants and sorceries. 7 mana for instants and sorceries. Or we can just play this Legend of Roku. Are we Star of Extinctioning? Or we could not Damping Sphere. No, or we have the Sorcerer's Spyglass. I bet they have an answer to Sorcerer's Spyglass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's cast a Star of Extinction. I think their hand is... The problem with Sorcerer's Spyglass is we get this, and if they have... Well, they wouldn't have a Get Lost, because they would have already blown up our Chandra. But they have 2 emblems on them. I think if we just Star of Extinction a blue source, we... Like, we do kill our Chandra here, but we answer the Teferi. And they have 2 emblems on them. Opponent has no more lies. That's brutal. Okay. Yeah. Maybe Spyglass was the answer. I guess, yeah, having no more lies did make sense. They have so many answers to Spyglass. All right, our Chandra is dead. See what they do with the Teferi. We're not just out of this. Opponent has a Fountain Port. That's notably not a blue source, but they can make treasures with it. We need this Legend Oroku to resolve. All right, opponent is a little, I don't want to say greedy, but they're not ultimating the Teferi. I do like the Boros version of this deck. Just having a road to answer Planeswalkers is so big. That's came up in both our matches against Blue-White today, where opponent just slams a Teferi on turn 5, and we just don't have any great ways to answer it because we're mono red. We need this Legend Oroku to hit. All right, we find a Demolition Field. Let's cast Legend Oroku first. Looks like our opponent found a null. Okay, so I think we're dead. Go after the Verge. Yeah, I do like your version that's able to burn out the control players a little bit better. Opponent. Why is this flanker bigger? What is... Oh, oh, this is a cat for Kahira. Okay. I've never seen that come up before. Yep. We are... I think we're losing to this Teferi. They're going to ultimate, and that is going to be it. I think we need Avengers Disassembled this turn. Yep, opponent gets in for 8. Gets in for 8. We need Avengers Disassembled off the top. And we need it to resolve. UI cat control went hard. That's so crazy that's a cat. My evaluation of this has changed. We draw a Demolition Field. We'll scoop it up. All right, crazy best of 3 there. Bummer to drop that one in 3. I'm not sure if there's a way we could have played that one differently. It looks like they were sitting on that annul for quite a while, so they could have just countered our Legend of Roku before. This deck is still really sweet, though. A little bit... how do I say it? The fact that we resolved this Chandra's Awakened Inferno against control and it didn't win us the game is a little bit brutal. I'm not sure if there was other options we could have went with that game. The only other thing I could think of is that one turn that we elected to use the Frostbite on the Wandering Emperor. We could have used it on the Teferi to buy us a few more turns. It would have let us minus with the Chandra to clean the board up. Maybe there was a line there. I'm not sure. It was really close. Anyway, that is going to be it for me today. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. I think killing the... Yeah, I agree. It feels just so bad to let the Wandering Emperor untap, and then they're plussing up on the Kahira from that point on. It's close. them having the annul, yeah, the tokens with counters, it just gets out of our damage base removal so fast. Because of how that match played out, I think having Erode is just so important in Pioneer for these decks. Like, it happened to us twice today, where once against Yarga, that it got too big for our red removal, and both of the matches against blue white control, we just lost to these planeswalkers that got to untap a few times. So I think going forward, I'm going to default to Boros Ponza. Now, that being said, is there a way to build this deck with the Wish package? That might be what I think of next, because I did really like having the Wish board. And Tablet of Discovery plus the Wish board felt strong. So maybe it's some type of like Boros land destruction deck